comrades. We are not getting the game yet. Just getting this picture. That's all I got. That's all I got. But they got to give me more soon, boss. They got to give me more. That's just the way it is. In fact, ooh, hope I didn't blow this here. Hope I didn't blow this. If I was a little bit more knowledgeable about things Indian, I would know what the white dot meant versus other color of dots. You know? I would know. Here we go. C4, E5. Where's my game bows? See, it's not showing. Let's refresh. Where's my game? Oh, there it is. No. There it is. Boom. Bang. Beautiful. Now, Kraai, do a little jadubi. Just a little jadubi for Mr. Don Cherubi. There we go, bows. Don't cut off the A file, bows. Give me a little love down here, bows. And now let's get them faces and times. All right, boom. Delicious. As a fan, I have some, I've always wanted the better player to win, So in some sense, I'm rooting for Magnus. But I think Magnus, it'd be good for him to get punched in the face. Maybe even lose 2-0. Just get punched really hard. Wake him up. Wake him up, Magnus. You got a couple years left, boss, and then it's all over. Now, I kind of blew this thing here. Let me just make it. Let's punch him in the face together. Poor Magnus, dude. Poor Magnus. All right. I do want to look at it from Magnus's point of view, though, because that's what I've been doing all tournament long. I've been trying to get inside the kid's head. Let's call this a classical thing that's been seen in many world championships. Magnus was kind of like deliberating after he saw C4. Maybe not what he expected. And now the dude is going to make some choices. E4 is playable. Knight C6 is the standard. Actually, I take it back. I don't think E4 is playable. Knight C6 is just El Standard. You could play D6, but why would you want to, right? So, one thing we had in the chat the other day was another person whining about openings and openings killing the game. And we're just playing chess here, boss. There's some positional understanding that can happen in a lot of these variations. But really, we're just playing chess, dude. Really, we're just playing chess. Yeah. And after, let's say, knight c6, g3, well, he doesn't have to play g3, but knight c6, g3, let's put that on our roll. This is what's going to happen, Magnus. You're just delaying the inevitable. We know you're going to do this. G3 is probably going to happen. E3 is also an interesting move that, especially if you just wanted to get an interesting game, you could play. And now we got pop, pop, and I think, no, it's still not playable yet. It's almost playable, Kraai, but it's not playable yet. I would say bishop b4 is the most standard in my head about what theory is or whatever. Just also the best move. Bishop c5, I'm a little confused by the knight takes e5 variation, but I think that's playable. That's right, Ed. Go Watch is starting. I gotta be on Go Watch. And then Fabi's also playing. And here's the thing. It's a little bit unclear for what's at stake. I think for Magnus, his whole thing was to win this tournament, at least ostensibly. For Pragg, in a way, by the way, what I predicted came true. This is our position. For Pragg, in a way, I think it's like when you get the GM title finally. And it's just like, you got to play another game, and it's just senseless, right? Whether he wins against Carlsen or not, that doesn't actually mean too much, because he gets to play in the tournament, right? So we're just playing for pride at this point. And if he punches Magnus in the face, I'm really hoping Magnus might decide that, hey, I might not be the GOAT forever, dude. I might want to reconsider my life choices, you know? I might want to start taking chess seriously, classical chess, right? You know, the world championship. That's what this Pragg kid doesn't know what Magnus is talking about when you say classical chess is dead. He doesn't know what you're saying, Bows. No idea what you're saying, buddy. Magnus, what are you saying? I want to be world champion. Imagine if he comes back to India as world champion. Oh, buddy, no. He doesn't know what you're saying, Magnus. You want to give him the title? He'll take it from you, Bows. He will take it from you, Bows. That's right, man. I don't know what you're saying, Magnus. We don't know what you're saying. Okay. Right. Let's say the main moves here: d5, bishop b4, bishop c5. You could do other things. You could probably play g6, but then you really break my rules. d5 happens. Okay, here we go. Now, one thing about this position is that back in the day, it would go like this. And everybody and their mom would play knight b6. This position is personally interesting for me because when I was a kid, I played this as black. And, you know, I did a lot of analysis with it, played a lot of games. And then much later, you know, it was interesting to see what the computer says. And the computer's just like, nah, boss, this is equal. Okay, but then Grisha came along, and his computer said, oh, it's possible to play bishop c5. And back in the day, we said, no, that wasn't possible because of like knight e5 tricks. But it turns out that's nothing impressive for white. So this is what we're getting, bishop g2. And we'll see now which of those variations Magnus wants. So actually, in terms of theory, whatever you want to call theory, knight b6, mostly an interesting position that, you know, we can talk about theory, but it's basically an equal game. Many choices for both sides on each move. And bishop c5, I don't understand it, but I know it's playable, right? I played knight b6 because Tanya said so. Knight f6. There you go, Magnus. There you go, Bows. So, I might consult the database here. The old-timers didn't even consider this move, knight f6. It just wasn't on their agenda. Let me actually see if I understand something. Let me see if I can understand this without the computer. So if bishop c5, knight e5, how is it that we equalize here? Let me just try here. This is hard. I don't know. Here. I got a lot of questions here, Bows. I got a lot of questions. I don't know. This doesn't make any sense to me. Even this move seems playable. So that wasn't it. So all I know is that move's playable. I don't actually get it. Here we are with knight f6. And one of the things that's Magnus has done that's very interesting is to find moves that are playable that no one else was kind of looking at. Okay, so this goes to the thing about the openings. Like, the reason it seems sometimes that theory is all predetermined is that actually what people are doing is they're just mimicking each other. So when a bunch of players start mimicking each other and playing knight b6, like thousands of players for decades playing knight b6 forever, it seems like it's all forcing. It seems like there's some theoretical thing going on. No, boss, not true. There's all kinds of other alternatives that people aren't doing, and they're only doing it this way because that's what other people did, you know? And, right, a lot of times when you're a chump player like me, you want to follow in the footsteps of those that are stronger than you, right? Okay, here we go. b4. Hello. Hello. That's a pretty spicy move. Played fairly quickly. So the point is, pop, pop. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Pop, 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 pop. It's an old trick. All right. I normally don't do this, but I'm going to open up my chess base and just see who and what has played this thing. So let me just put it. This is just my own little private party over here, bows. So pop. One thing that's cool about what Pragg has done is I think he might be this newer generation of players. They're more comfortable, I think, playing just equal positions. You know, they understand that the fight's coming later. So to give you a hint, in this position, knight b6, excuse me, in the position before knight f6, I'm just going to give you some stats. In this position, knight b6 has been played overwhelmingly. Some people played bishop e6. Some people played, you know what, maybe that Grishuk thing, I don't know. Yeah, a bunch of people played, okay, then bishop e6, then knight c3, which makes no sense to me. I thought that would just be bad, but a bunch of people have played that. Then bishop c5, then knight d e7, then bishop e7, and only 21 players, 21 games have been played with knight f6. So way down in the line. But Romanishin played it back in the day, and apparently Nakamura played. Nakamura's game might be a blitz game, though. You never know. So we're going to click on knight f6. And then b4 was played twice, once by Nepo. Nepo Carlsen. Oh! That's funny. Was that a blitz game? It was a rapid game, dude. Oh, hilarious, dude. Okay. So the kid might have actually done some deep prep on Carlsen. And Carlsen played a6 in that game. So let's go look. b4. So I have a feeling bishop d6 is probably a novelty. So let's go check. So, yeah, only a6 and e4 have been played. So now we're going to get bishop d6. Yeah, no games found. All right, now we're on our own. I like it, dude. And I think the intention is that if you play b5, we're just going to play knight d4. And we're going to feel good about it. I think that's what's going to happen. I wonder what a 900 rated chump can glean from these high-level games. Can we get Dojo hats in a larger size? That's a good question. I actually, I'm a big fan of the trucker hats, and the logo was kind of on the side of our trucker hats, of the merch store. So I want one in the middle. Kostya says he's buying one to look at them, so we got the ones. We already have the trucker ones where we got a Chess Dojo thing on the side, but not right in the middle. Now A6 certainly made some sense. But yeah, just bishop d6, let's play some chess. And now we'll see what the kid's going to think about here. One thing about the position, okay, is if we look at the knight b6 variation, all kinds of things were tried here, but just to give you a sense, this was the most common move order. And b4 is obviously something white wants. There, the b4 trick is not going to work because the knight is on b6, right? So, there's an argument that when dude gets to play b4 so quickly, that it's a big accomplishment, right? But the thing about knight b6 is kind of a chump piece over there. And with reverse colors, the b3 knight in the Sicilians, also a chump piece. So the argument, right, is the knight on f6 is just more centrally placed. One of the reasons the old-timers like the knight here on b6, though, is it gives me flexibility to play with the f-pawn if I want to. So here we go. Pop, pop, pop. Okay, good moves. And the claim here is that knight f3, bishop f3 is maybe a small edge for white. Is it true? I don't know. The immediate question that comes to mind is knight f3, bishop f3, bishop h3. That's kind of the big question. And you'd have to answer b6, but I don't believe him. Well, you'd have to answer bishop b7, Bows. That's what you'd have to answer, son. All right, Kraai, slow it down. I think I'd rather be white here, unless black has something fancy. One fancy attempt would be c5. And let's just say the obvious. Why is white a little bit better here? Because this pawn is a real pain to deal with. Yeah. Might be okay still, though. You can organize for a later a6. In fact, that might be really annoying. So, like, castles here, a6. We're not threatening ab yet, but we will eventually. And then this rook will be open. There's some complications here, though. Like, when we play here, they take here, and then you got to figure out what's going on over there with the takes on b5. It's not 100% clear. Does the dojo ship to Europe? I think so, man. Yeah. European gathering. Oh, nice, dude. You're in Hungary. Amazing chess culture. I lived in Hungary for about 3 months when I was on the GM title quest. what is it, 20 years ago, dog. Oh, damn, I'm old. 20 years ago. Yep, that was summer 2003. That was great, dog. That was great. I was playing these tournaments, living in Budapest. Dude, beautiful women. Oh, my God, dude. Oh, damn. Damn, gee. Damn. It was cheap, too, dude. It was cheap. And honestly, I think if the language wasn't so hard, I would have really considered staying. I had friends who stayed, who lived there, chess friends, and beautiful time, dude. Absolutely beautiful time. Okay, this is our Queen A4 question. Hate those. Every the visit, yeah. My friend Julian Estrada Nieto got together. He just, we were kids and we played chess together, and he became an IM pretty quickly, and then he moved there to Hungary and met this Hungarian girl, and they bought an apartment there together in Budapest, and they were living the dream. Now all dreams, fall apart, and I think he's living in Spain now, but he was like the dude I was hanging out with the most when I was there in Hungary. That was a great summer, dude. That was a great summer. Studying chess all day. Now, it feels like the kid has seen this before, but it's also very natural play that White is doing here. Very natural moves. And I guess what Magnus is debating is c5 or knight takes f3. If you play knight takes f3, the problem is you have to have a plan of how you're going to deal with b7. You need a plan, Bowers. Whereas White's next couple of moves after knight f3 are very simple. They're going to play d3. They're going to play castles. That part's easy. Furthermore, I think you can make a good argument that just the trade in general is good for White, because really, even though White is white, Black has a little bit of extra space in the center, and the knight d4 thing is in general the key dynamic in both the knight b6 positions, and I'm assuming this one. So can we keep the knight somehow there? Definitely, it seems to me that White's also better, though, after c5, pawn takes, knight takes, because it'll be very natural to later put the rook on b1 and just ask some fundamental questions. So here we go. I really don't want to do anything fancy like knight e6, but that's maybe what's going to happen. What is this picture about? We're watching the goat, dude. Those are goats. Those are goats. Magnus is the goat. So that's the goat watch, Bows. That's what we're doing. This is the goat watch. So Magyar, where do you live in Budapest? Where do you live? 15 miles. Nice. Okay. And let me ask you something, man. When you're like 15 miles from Budapest, you got an attitude about like Buda versus Pest? You got an attitude about that? I kind of was only there a couple months, dude, but I started to get an attitude. I was like, oh yeah, Pest is for the normal people, and Buddha's for the fancy people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just wondering, do you have that kind of sensibility? Buddha's like where the castles are and stuff, where the royalty used to live. Screw those people. It's all more compact over there. It's like on this hill, Yeah. Oh, he's raised in Buddha. Crazy people in best. See, he's got the attitude, dude. He's just the other way. Meyer's one of the fancy kids from Buddha, man. He's from the nice side of the train tracks. Yep. Oh, man. Didn't know we had one of those Buddha people in the chat, dude. I thought we were over that. Well, I can't be that fancy over there in Buddha, man, because you're either, those houses are all small over there, because you're living in what used to be the maids' quarters, over there. If you're living in Buddha, they had to have the maids' quarters over there, the servants' quarters. Yep. Yeah, everything's on a hill over there. Everything's on a hill. Maybe you get strong while walking up and down that hill all day. All right, let me try this again. I think Magnus is going to take. I think he's going to take. And let's just assume this one for a second. Let's assume this one for a second. And let's assume this one for a second. Now, the intention of this could maybe be to say, like, let's say you just continue. Then, I don't know if this is true yet. We could play bishop h3. Yeah, actually, here's a nice variation. Pop, pop. And if pop, rop, top, that is mate. However, king f1, that makes me real nervous, Baus, because wherever I move this rook, he's going to play BA. And if I play AB, he's taken here. Tasty, tasty coconuts. So that didn't quite work out. Knight f3 is what Magnus played. Magnus, I told you were going to do it, Baus. I told you you were going to do it. All right, so we're anticipating bishop f3, and then Pragg, look, maybe he went, no, he's there at the board. I thought maybe he went to go take a longer potty break after Magnus thinking so long on the move we knew he was all going to do. Bishop f3 played. And now castles as expected. Now, let's say something obvious. Black's fundamental problem is this b7 pawn and the development of his coconuts. Right? So, Pragg is going to maybe calculate a little bit about which move order stops Black from getting his coconuts out. Right? One nice thing about White's position as well is there's no real counterplay. The bishop here is dominating this knight. This bishop, it's just a big fat bows. And then this guy is restrained by the problem. So even if we fixed the problem, this bishop would remain. Now, I think Black's big hope is, can I open the rook up, develop the rook where it stands? So far, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen how that is done. One very ridiculous looking thing that I've been looking at with the corner of my eye is, let's say, castles a6. Let's just put d3 down for a second. I'm going to do something really gross. Okay? I don't even know if I'm going to do it. It's so gross looking. But here. With the intention that if here, I play here. And this is so dumb. I mean, what? Eventually, no, that was dumb. But it shows you the kind of weird lengths that we're going to figure out how to break from B7 in some kind of natural way. We could consider some kind of sad knight D7 stuff. I also don't like that. Now, one kind of cool thing about watching these guys is when you look at a chump GM like me, I just castle, dude. You know, I would just make sure that bishop h3 doesn't work, and I'd be done with it. Yeah. But what they do, the super gems, is they're really going to look a lot deeper at like how is it that how could Magnus develop his pieces, and then you start looking at things like a6. And for a chump GM, it's like, even if dude somehow resolved that problem, it's still not the case. We're still doing great. Okay? We're still doing great. But then, you know, white is really going to look like, how can I really put the screws into this dude and not let him move any of the pieces? And so Pragg's going to be thinking about all that weird stuff with a6 and some kind of bishop d7. Let's try it again. So castles. Well, let's put the bishop on h3 for a second. Here, okay, here's an interesting question. Okay, this pertains to the move order too, because white could have played d3 instead of castling. Let's say snip. Let's say snip. Now this would be a blunder because that is a mate. Okay, that's not going to happen. But how do we feel about this position for white? This one, I feel pretty good about this one for white, my friends. I feel pretty good. You know, rook b8, queen a7. That looks like tasty coconuts to me. This bishop is a god. That bishop is a god. You know, he's going here, Bows. And then we're just gonna say, oh, my rook on a1. That looks pretty developed. I'm going. Goodbye. Run, Forrest, run. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Now, maybe though, white can say to himself, I don't even want to think about that. I want to play d3, and then I don't have to even worry about it. Well, there might be some interesting questions. Let's say I do it anyway, Bows. Let's just say, Bows, I do it anyway. And you give me, I give you your coconut. Congratulations. Rook b8. And then here's a nice variation I just found. Here, here, here. Bang! And I will separate your queen from this bishop. So there's possibilities for counterplay here. That maybe, and now let's just say dude goes back though. That would also be a big concern. And then we would have to make a claim like, oh, this is counterplay. Is it, Bows? I don't know. I want to say the pawns being split here, major hassle in the castle. You know? Major hassle in the castle. The bishop could have parked itself there too if it wanted. Looks scary. So I think Pragg is going to, it's just a question. He's just looking. How can black break? There's the bishop h3 sack. There's an a6 hope to get the rook out somehow. Again, I don't know how that works yet. I had a weird idea of black playing a5. I don't really see how that helps you, though. But anyways, that's what Pragg's looking at, dude. You guys are both living outside the big city. Nice. That's cool. We got. I guess I was gonna say it's cool. We got some European people, but honestly, you guys, it's the middle of the day for you guys. Here, it's kind of. I wake up early anyway, you know. But here in America, I have Kostya. You think that kid's up yet? No, Baus. He's in St. Louis 2 hours earlier. He's just chilling, dude. And he doesn't. That guy, dude. If he doesn't, he needs some avocado toast before he even wakes up, dude. I don't know if the Europeans have avocados, dude. You know, back when I lived in Europe, there was no avocados to be seen. Nary an avocado to be seen, my friend. You know? They might have avocados now. Back in the day, the East Coast didn't have avocados either, but they've learned to travel them. You know, maybe Spain is producing some avocados now. I don't know. Kostya's got these huge avocado warehouses in Mexico that he keeps, you know? Huge avocado warehouses, and he's got, it's not even migrant labor, they live there. Let's go where Kostya's avocados are, dude. Yeah. Okay, another idea for black that just struck me is maybe you could do some. I don't like it. I was going to say, like, put the bishop here and the rook here, but I mean, you're just in a permanent state of yuck. You're never getting out of the state of yuck. So one thing we can say is when Magnus took on f3, might have felt uncomfortable about the position, but has some tentative ideas about how he might break out of this position. And Pragg I think he's overthinking it. But he's debating, I guess, d3 and castles short. Trying to see then which method. What method does he think Magnus is going to do to get out of there? Okay, I'm going to say this is what Magnus is thinking. Let's say castles. Let's say a6. Let's say d3, in which case it doesn't matter whether he plays d3 or castles first. Oh, I have another idea for white too, actually. But we're going to show this first. Maybe here. So the intention is if I get my rook developed, okay, then I can claim that this bishop is developed where it stands, okay? And we're not afraid of this. You can have my thing. That's fine. Now it's much easier for me to guard the pawn, I think. This actually else, this might be grief too, dude, because a later knight. No, this is going to be fine. I'll put this bishop over here. You know, I'm going to be okay. It's not like I'm better or anything, but I'm going to be okay. In any case, the point would be, if he doesn't take, then we can take here. And our rook will be open. That's a thought. Still like white. The other idea I was going to say, though, and this is a reason to maybe play castles, is white might like to play d4. Does he? I don't know if I do want to play d4. I'm going to put it out there as an idea. One reason I don't like it is, like, you're kind of giving my bishop something to do. You know, like maybe when after the tension happens, we get our bishop on e5 and it does things. I don't know. Maybe. All right. A move was played. Castles, a6. Hey, buddy. Welcome to the dojo. I call day 6, my friends. Thank you very much. And now I call in D3 for the Pragg. Dude, we got people saying the streets are lined with avocados here now. That's a crazy, man. Avocados used to, it used to just be California. That was the only place you could, when I was a kid, that was the only place you could get them, dude. And you could get them sometimes, but they were really expensive, They're really expensive. And I got to say, though, I don't know what it's like in Europe, but the avocados we get here on the East Coast, they're of dubious quality because they got to travel so far. So sometimes you open them up and they're kind of dark and brown, And I was going to make some kind of twisted reference with the inside being dark and brown and the outside being pretty, but I didn't. Thank you. All right, let me just talk about this little thing. The tension in the position is this. This seemed like a great thing for white. But generally, you would have the pawn here. Okay, so if black can make this trade, it's not clear if he can yet, but if black can make the trade, then we say, oh, good pawn structure for black, and I got this nice rook doing its thing. And then I just leave the bishop there, and I say, bows, I do not care. I can play c6 afterwards, too. I don't care. So, can Pragg make this difficult? Right? I think he's going to think forever, and then he's going to play d3. Okay. How is Kostya ever going to be a GM if he wakes up at 11? That's true. That's true. I've been thinking about Kostya, dude, and his path to GM. I've been thinking. I think Kostya, in a lot of ways, is a social learner, dude. And so I think he does well when, like, we're doing the endgame sparring and stuff. I don't know how much he's actually studying on the board. I think millennials have a hard time studying on the board anyway, because you're all alone, and millennials don't like to be alone, So maybe I need to spar with him more. The endgame sparring we've been doing with the queen, and we did queen versus rook, and then queen and pawn versus, rook and pawn versus queen. Great, dude. He's also like doing a lot of dojo work, and I am too. But I'm not really fighting for GM title no more, I think too he needs to get fit, dude. Not like he's unfit, but he needs to like start lifting some weights or something. Give himself a little confidence or something. Just a little something shifted around. Okay, so this whole thing I'm jabbering on, I'm wondering, is it true that knight d7 is Carlsen's dream here? I'm not 100% yet on this. And the other thing about knight d7 that might be interesting is, if I go knight d7, bishop e3, in addition to knight b6, I could consider knight c5. Tis a thought. Because queen c4, I got bishop e6. And I'm not really afraid of that exchange. So and what's nice about that is it gives us, if it's true, it gives us two options. If for whatever reason we don't like this one, and we don't like the fact that I guess we could be the scary thing about this is dude might park a knight there someday. It might be unpleasant. But I don't know. It looks good. So it's one of those two bishops positions where maybe even if you lost a pawn, you might still be fine. You know, you might just be fine. Delicious. Okay, things have happened d3. I'm calling it, Bows. I'm calling it. h6. No, that was okay. So Magnus is thinking, did Kraai predict that one? No. And this h6 stuff, it always burns me up because I'm like, Magnus or whoever. It's like, Bows, you need to develop. Okay, but I do have a little bit of a theory here. So, obviously you're preventing bishop g5. Obviously you can make a claim that it's useful anyway to play h6. But maybe the key drama is that we do want to set up this. So let's just put the bishop on e3 for a second. I don't get it. So again, the question is if black can't get out of the bows, if he can't get out of the bows, it ain't no good. Now at this point, you could maybe still do knight d7, but what was the point then of h6? Further, I'm going to go ahead and say you don't have to play bishop e3. The other move's totally playable here. Rook b1 comes to mind, for example. The big question is, if you're Pragg, it's like, what the hell is Magnus intending? You know, Pragg is thinking to himself, maybe I got to go snipe on Krai's screen for him to tell me what Magnus is thinking with h6. Pragg, I don't know, Bowers. I don't know what he's thinking. Go back to your board, buddy. I don't know. A lot of the Indian guys watch me because they're like, oh, Krai's the Magnus whisperer. And they want to know what Magnus is thinking. And sometimes I do. I've been pretty good lately. Okay? But this time I don't know. DM Hokey subscribed for 33 months. Nice. Now, one thing is, DM Hokey, maybe there's no ping for when somebody subscribes. Or what's their little ping? And I didn't even notice. Go, Hockey Chess Dude. Charlie Silva says, I can picture coast to coast going for a walk to collect butterflies, not playing sports or lifting weights. That's what I mean. And he doesn't need to lift monster weights or anything. Just a little bit of strength, you know, before his bones break. Before his bones get all brittle and break. Dude, I hung out with him there at the U.S. Open. Can you imagine, like, going to not a fancy restaurant, but, you know, one of those restaurants where they don't give you a man-sized portion. And you get he gets his avocado toast. It has, like, a little couple pieces of toast and a little, like, sprinkles of lettuce or something. Now, just imagine you get that and you don't finish it, dude. I had to finish it. There was more than one meal where I was like, dude, you're not going to finish it and I have to finish it? What's going on here? So he's like so frail, he's not even finishing his food, dude. Can you imagine, like, working that hard for the avocado toast, having all those Mexican laborers down there in Mexico creating the avocados for you, and you leave some of that avocado toast on your plate? Nah, boss. Nah, if you want to become a GM, you better start eating, son. Give me a break. Yeah. I thought, well, he is, it's true. The move to St. Louis it's an alpha move. There's no doubt about it, dude. So it's true. That's why he's going to have to start lifting weights. And he promised me, dude. He was like, okay, Kraai, I'm going to get on it, buddy. I'm going to get on it. Now, can someone tell me what the intention of h6 is? Pragg is still trying to snipe my stream, trying to figure it out. I don't know, buddy. I had like a path for Magnus to break out. Okay, maybe an idea. Okay, I don't know if this is true. Maybe the claim is to say that what I'm doing with a6 is I am pinning your queen to the a4 square. That is to say that I will simply play ab if you ever move the queen. And if you don't move the queen, I'm just going to sit. I'm just going to sit, Bows. I'm just going to sit. Let's see if we can make that work for Mr. Magnus. Bishop e3. Let's just put a natural move on the board. Rook b1. These are big power moves that White's making, by the way. Queen e7. Rook c1. This is what I mean. So I stare at this and I'm like, okay, Magnus, you made a couple cool moves, Bows, but how are you getting your rook out, son? How are you going to get the rook out, son? Okay, things have happened, I think. No, things haven't happened. I'm the same way, Charlie Silva, dude. I was also poor for a part of my life that if I see like uneaten food, it hurts me. It hurts my soul, dude. And my kids, dude, they're just nasty little effers, you know? They won't eat anything anyway. And so a lot of times I'll give them food and they're just like, eh. And I'm like, oh, God, I got to eat this, you know? Little jerks, dude. Yeah. All right, my friends, what is the idea? How does Magnus hope to get out? And so, okay, let's just put some pieces on the board here. I don't see how to make this work. Okay, this is my other little problemito in the casito. Because I would love to do something like this, but it doesn't work. He still takes, and AB is met by this. And rook b8. I think there's a variety of reasons this doesn't work, but obviously that's the big question. So that's something I don't understand. All right, my friends, it's a basic question. How does Magnus intend to get out of this nasty little situation? Me no likey. Me no likey. I don't understand, dude. Okay, we got Magyar talking about A5. Maybe, but first of all, if he was going to do it, he would have done it before. Second of all, it doesn't actually solve the fundamental problem, which is this pawn. That's our problem. Okay, bishop A3. I don't know, Bows. I don't know. All right, I'm going to talk a second about why I don't like it. You are helping Black in a lot of ways unravel, I think, when you're playing this move. And it gives me several options. But maybe he's obviously got some ideas behind it. The big question was, I didn't see what Magnus was even going to do after bishop e3. But let's give this bishop a3 question a good chance. Okay, first thing what I want to point out is I think in a lot of these variations, white is playing for this square now. That's what he's looking at. So for example, let's say I go pop, pop, pop. Then pop, pop, and we say, no, you don't get to play AB. No, you don't get to play AB. And we're going to put a rook here, and we're going to look to put a rook here. Looks like an advantage. Okay. A similar idea would be on queen e7, bishop takes, pawn takes. Now we are covering this pawn and threatening bishop h3, and maybe then the plan is b6 and say, oh, I'm looking at this square, Bows. And that looks like an advantage too. Notice how there's very little counterplay for black. Okay, I still distrust, I want to still say, I'm just taking the ideas of bishop a3. I distrust this thing. Wouldn't surprise me if we get a good think by Magnus here. Might be my time to get my coffee. I deserve a coffee sometimes. It's gonna be a little bit messy here. Okay. Okay, just gotta check. Is this now playable? Let's imagine. I don't think it is. Bishop e7. No, I just don't. I can't deal with it. Crab's talking smack about Magnus. Dude, Magnus is winning this FIDE World Championship World Cup thing just for fun. He's doing it just for fun, dog. But I think if Pragg gives him a bloody nose, maybe he's going to be rethinking his life choices. All right, let's talk about the obvious elephants in the room. When I play queen e7, and you go snip snap, and you play b6, do you really have anything special here? For example, bishop e6. I'm just going to put in rook c1. I feel like that's white's big dream. And then I say, nope. I kill your bishop and your dream of this square. Furthermore, I'm going to be looking at queen d6. Now, of course, white doesn't have to, allow all that. Maybe play a move like queen b4 or queen a3. But the party doesn't end. We still play queen d7 and tending d5. So I think this queen e7 is my first big question about this bishop a3 move. It gives me a path to deal with this defense. And it seems like a good pawn structure shift for me to be able to get in bishop d6 cd. Like I said, the only story white could say is, well, then I'm getting in b6 bows. But is it so special? That doesn't look so special. Maybe here? Now I can even consider this too. This is the other thing. Once this goes down, I have this. It's a threat because I'm going to play A, B next. And, well, okay, to give it a second, bows. This, we could argue, is just better for white, right? Okay, so we do have to be a little careful. Let's then, okay, B1. Let's just play bishop E6. Now, is this a thing? Rook takes. Rook takes. Holy moly, Don Pacholi. Well, this wouldn't quite work out because it just liquidates into nothingness. But that could be something like that. Could be white's intention, and just moving the queen might be a hell of a drug here. Again, though, we got good play. Oh, don't play that, boss. That's losing your queen. Don't do that. Okay, so something like this could be white's intention. Again, I don't like it. Is Pragg better than Gukesh? I don't know, dude. They got so many of them, man. All of a sudden, they got so many, and then Arjun, that kid's amazing too. All of a sudden, the rise of the Indians. It's a real thing, man. That's what I'm telling Magnus when we talk on the phone. I'm always like, buddy, dude, you need to get it together because these kids are coming for you. This is not like you just get to be world champion all the time, but you got a couple years left. It's time, you defended the last couple years of your reign, bows. You do not have forever. Even the goats don't have forever, bows. Kid's going to give you a bloody nose. He doesn't. It's hard for him to hear me when I tell him these things. It's very hard for him to hear me. Anyways, we got to talk about the rise of the Indians, dude. It's a massive deal, dude. In fact, let's say. Here's our 2,700 list. And Gukesh is now in the top 10. This is the first top 10 Indian since Anand. And Anand was there alone just forever. Past Anand, dude. Past Anand. Right? And then we got Pragg down here at number 23. Clearly on the rise. Right? Gukesh is 17. Pragg is 18. Pragg looks like he's 12, And then Vidit, too old. Too old. And there's Arjun, who lost in, could have gone either way in that match with Pragg, right? Yeah. And actually, it's kind of interesting. I just noticed this kid, Magzuglu, who's 23, just a couple years ago, he was saying he was going to be world champion. And I think that kid's ambitions have been scaled back. But he made it to the 2,700 club. Yep. I think Shanklin fell out again. It's hard to maintain 2,700 club. Another interesting thing about this list is there's a thing we're going to be talking about. Some dojo talks about the claim of rating deflation. And one question about that's confusing with the rating deflation is why hasn't it shown up at the top? But arguably, it would be interesting to look at this list, like how many players are over 2,700. And my sense is there's usually something closer to 40. The claim about deflation, by the way, has a lot to do with just the huge influx of Indian kids. Anyways, that's a different story. Let's go back, Bows. What do we got? We're still working on Bishop A3. I'm good with Magnus. I told Magnus, I was like, Bows, you're going to think forever on this move, aren't you? And he did. He's thinking forever. But why would you say that the top ratings are inflating? Magnus's rating, all those ratings at the top have been similar for a long time. You had 2,800. Sometimes Fabi was 2,800 for a little bit. Ding touched it for a second. I think Nepo might have touched it for a second. But that's been pretty similar for, I don't know, a decade or so. The difference with ChessCom and Elite Chess? No, we're not talking about online chess. We're talking about over the board. Elite Chess is incredibly inflated. I found out. I've been wondering a little bit about Elite Chess, and apparently if you go to Elite Chess and you are just like, you never played chess before, they put you at 1,400 Bows. 1,400? Give me a break. 1,400 is a high rating. You don't just get to start chess at 1,400. Come on, son. And I think Power Blunder might be telling me that it's actually 1,500. Whew. Okay, it might be time for my coffee. Normally, I would put it on that starting soon screen, our wrap video. But, my friends, I'm going to leave it here. We'll see what Magnus got. All right, my friends. What has happened? Nothing. That was a good time. That was a good moment to go get a coffee. I knew it too. Me and Magnus go way back, dude. I know when he's going to take a thing. I'm trying to figure out what people are talking about here. They got some big things going on. What's going on? Oh no, the chess.com Lee Chess debate is going on. Oh buddy, I don't want to be in the middle of that one. When that brawl starts, that's like being one of those African tribal wars or something, man. You just get out of the way. Get out of the way. Okay. Man with that dog song about Think Like a Super GM. I reviewed that on our YouTube. Been doing a lot of book reviews. Been doing a lot of endgame algos. Yep. I'll do more of those videos soon. Do you have a preferred way to prep coffee? Oh, yes, I do. It's definitely the pour over, my friend. There's no other way. There's no other way. It is the pour over. I don't drink matcha. That might be a thing Kostya's drinking. I don't know, man. That's like, if you're eating avocado toast, maybe you can drink some matcha. America has only 3 juniors who can potentially make the top 10. Interesting thought. Only one of today's U.S. top players was a U.S. junior. And that's not true. Fabi was a U.S. junior. Naka was a junior. Yep. Pour over is when you pour the hot water over it, Bows. Get yourself a little thingamabobber. What do they call them? Little ceramic thing. Put your filter in the ceramic thing. Pour it right over with the coffee inside. Boom. That's a good question. That French press thing, that doesn't work, dude. But the French press is honestly like a big pour over. That's what it is. That's what the French press is. And then for the true people, we're just like, wait, let's just take a French press and make it the size of a coffee cup. And boom, we get it going like that. NT says, I was impressed with your QV rook technique. Queen versus knight. I've never even dealt with queen versus knight, dude. The queen versus rook vid is actually going to come out today, I think, if we get it together. I recorded that yesterday and sent it in to our editing dude. I told him to put a lot of fancy bling bling on it. I was just thinking of a weird idea here. No, I don't like it. Oh, this coffee's good, dude. This is a good coffee. Magnus is really thanking here. Magnus has always been kind of a good-looking dude, but this new hairstyle, dude, it's a little too good-looking, It's like, and I think he doesn't realize he's going to lose the hair soon. It's going to go about, look at your dad, okay? That's what's going to happen. You're going to lose your hair, Magnus, okay? And this beautiful time you have as world champion, you should keep it, Bows. You should keep it. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's going to all go soon. Take it from an old dude. It don't last forever, buddy. He's not listening to me. Isn't baldness a trait based on your mother's father? Is that true, man? He's going to Bob Marley this year. Okay, then we're going to have to ask the internet. Is baldness inherited from mother or father? Let's just see what the internet says. Your mother isn't the sole cause of your baldness. The X or female chromosomes carry the primary baldness gene, and men inherit this X chromosome from their mothers. This makes the hereditary factor around baldness most dominant on your mother's side. Well, I'll be damned. You guys are teaching me some stuff, dude. Yeah. Oh. And then another thing is saying that's just a myth, and it's actually passed down from both sides. Well. Anyways. In general, I think most genes are like that, where it's not just one person that you get it from. Right? It's like the Mendelian effect only happens in a couple things, like hemophilia, for example. Interesting, hemophilia. I've been reading this kind of, it's been interesting. It's been a long book, but about Stalin, dude. And the point for me for reading the Stalin book was, to think about Russia and Russian history. And apparently with hemophilia, so Nicholas II's kid, the only heir, had hemophilia. And they were trying to keep it from the public, and it was this state secret that the kid had hemophilia. And it was a bad hemophilia. You can have different kinds of hemophilia. Some are functioning. And nowadays they put this, you can carry around this stuff called factor. And then, if you get really badly bruised or something, you can use that. Anyways, so one of the amazing contingencies of world history is that revolution, which was a mess, dude. And it continues to affect our world history. That revolution, dude. Oh, man. Because the Bolsheviks, dude, they don't want anything to do with those people. You don't want anything to do with those people, man. And the kind of the Putin is picking up on the Bolshevik legacy. In any case, Kraai, you're going on a little bit of a tangent. I'm trying to say that whole revolution business wouldn't have started like it did without hemophilia. That's my contention for the day. The Stalin Kraai chess opening never caught on. Oh, Boss Tweet, I'm sorry about that, bud. My hairline started receding. I was probably 21 when I started noticing it, dude. Yeah. Dude, Magnus, you tanking, Bows. You tanking pretty good. Just thinking about other options for you here, buddy. Okay, here's another thing. I wouldn't want to do it, but pop. We got ourselves a little fandanglo here, right? Now, we might look at in-between moves, but let's just look at this for a second, because this looks, to my eyes, this looks too scary. And you can take with a rook. This is too scary for me. No me likey. But maybe. No. I don't like it. I don't like it. This thing's a beast, dude. But that's one of the things he's calculating. I'm sure about that. Oh, Krabby Krab, dude. Yeah. Krabby Krab, by the way, young kid living somewhere near me. I don't know where, but somewhere in Maryland. Going to try to get to the Sweet 16, which is the tournament which decides who gets to go play in the Denker tournament. And one cool thing now about my chess life is when I go, U.S. Open happens, then there's going to be, at this U.S. Open, there's a senior tournament. Oh, he played Rook B8. Rook B8 is an admission that things have not gone well. That's what it is. Anyways, so I'll finish that story and then we'll talk about Rook B8. So this Sweet 16 will determine who goes and plays the Denker. And then at that tournament, you got the Denker tournament. So that's all the high school champions. Then you got the Barber, which is the like elementary school champions. And then you got the Herring, which is the girls champions. And then you got the senior, right? And then the state adds up their scores to see which state is the baddest ass of all the states. And so if Krabby Krab wins that tournament, he can't be putting up no chump results. You know what I'm saying? No chump results, buddy. You know, if you want to play, you can play. But no chump results, because you're playing for the state honor now, my friend. It's no longer, some chump thing. Okay, let's think about Rook B8. It looks god-awful because after BA, it would surprise us if B5 was playable. I'm just going to go ahead. Let's just pretend B5 isn't playable, and we're going to take. Okay. Now, one of the things that'll be interesting about this position is white is definitely better, but it will turn into, let's say, a technical struggle. Let's put Rook A B1 on the board first, just because it looks natural. And then Rook B6 is maybe Magnus's idea. Let's just put this one on the board because it's natural. And then I have a really basic question for Magnus, and that is, how do you want to improve the position? Right? A little not so easy. Maybe this, though. Maybe this. I don't like it. I don't like it, dude. How are you dealing with the simple, like, there's a lot of pips and pops going on over here, buddy. All right, so, Magnus, this is not pleasant for a peasant, dude. You could be going down here. And you're now, what are we talking about? 26 minutes down on time. Well, maybe there's a tricky idea. Okay, hold on, guys. How about this? Pawn takes pawn. Maybe Magnus wants to throw this move in. That could be very clever, dude. So the intention would be that on Queen A5, B6, I win your coconut. That's fun. Okay, timeout. And then on Queen B3, I actually also amazingly win your coconut. Oh! Okay. Magnus maybe has some deep ideas here. Let's look at that again. So obviously, if this works out for white, we'll look at bishop d6 first. So pop, pop. See, I'm mind melding with Magnus. And what's weird is it's like Magnus will actually win a piece in this variation, as far as I can tell. As far as I can tell, like Queen b3, Pop, you want to separate you from your coconut, son. Okay, now it's getting interesting. This, I think, means that white is going to have to take first. Now, again, if I get that, we're just going to say that black is fine. Okay, maybe he's not as fine as it seems like he's fine. Okay, so let's say we take, and then obviously it's a question mark. But let's try that way. And then we take bishop d7 is now a threat. Let's say rook b1. And then the first question would be, can I just go snippos and hippos and crippos? And I have the nice feature that on rook b8, queen c7 is annoying for white. Well, maybe. Rook b8 at the very minimum, interesting. That dude tanked. He struggled to find that fancy pants move, dude. He struggled. So I did this video on the queen versus rook endgame. And one of the things about that endgame that kind of applies to this thing is, like, a lot of times the queen versus rook, the rook will do a really fancy move to relieve the immediate pressure. And sometimes it works. But white then just resets. He just resets and the drama continues. And so in this position, black just played a very fancy move, showing some deep resilience. But white can reset. Like, even this move, I think we're going to have to say is an advantage to white. Maybe not things so scary anymore, but it's an advantage. Imagine here, here, here. That's nothing special anymore, though. I'll play here, buddy. And then we can go back if we want. We can play here if we want. Okay. Yeah. So, rook b8. I have a feeling white wasn't thinking about rook b8. That's a clever move, dude. There's a reason they call him the GOAT, man. Fabi lost in 10 minutes? Okay, so my understanding with the qualifications is the top 3 finishers get it. But here's what gets confusing. Magnus is not going to get it. So it seems like everybody's qualifying, right? It seems like everybody's qualifying. Furthermore, even if Magnus did decide to play, I think the precedence would be that he gets in because he's the highest rated, because there's one spot for the highest rated. I think that's kind of the way it works. So I think Fabi's in, dude. And also, here's another way Fabi could get in if Magnus decides he doesn't want to play, which seems like, I'm hoping after Pragg, cuts his face open today, that Magnus gets a rethink of what's going on in his life. But anyways, if Magnus don't play, then Fabi would be next in line, right? Rook b8's a hell of a move, dude. That is a hell of a move, Mr. Groove. Dude, I want to say I'm learning things watching Magnus play, dude. That was just like deep resourcefulness, because he understood that he was under really significant pressure, and he came up with this idea. And, he's not even out of the woods yet. White has a variety of moves that he can try. But the scary one was simply BA. And I think we've dealt with BA. That's what it seems like is going on. All right, I'm just reading the chat here. Well, let me tell you, I've been playing chess longer than Magnus, and I don't know. I'm not this tough. I'm not this tough, dude. I've been playing chess since before Magnus was born, boss. Come on. Yeah, that's right, Levy. That's our sense. Everyone's getting a spot. Let's just see if there's some information on the. So when would the World Championship be? It would be Chess World Championship 2025. Is that right? Is it going to be 2025? Hold on. Oh my God. Okay, we're just going to click. I want the wiki page, please. World Championship 2023 was already a match, right? So I guess it's 2025, dude. All right, just. Oh God, wiki. World Chess Championship 2025. I guess 20. Okay, this is saying World Chess Championship 2024, so it'll be next year. That's what was my sense. I don't know, because I typed in World Chess Championship and it started saying 2025, and I was like, really, Bob? So, and this will be Ding. Who knows if Ding is even going to keep playing, dude? You know? And this thing, Wiki's already saying that Abasov, Caruana, and Pragg are in. And then it's going to be the top two finishers in the FIDE Grand Swiss, the winner of the 2023 FIDE circuit, and the highest rating. Now, why is this highest rating really interesting? Okay, because Hikaru, dude, Hikaru can qualify then by rating, because Magnus is Fabi's already in, and if we go the live ratings list, check this out. Close, please. Thank you. Hikaru's right there. And Ding would be next. Now, conceivably, Ali Reza, dude, first of all, Ali Reza has to be at this tournament, or else it's going to just be a joker tournament. But Ali Reza could pass Hikaru quite easily, as you can see, and get that rating spot. So you got that happening. I got questions about Ali Reza's commitment too. I don't know what's going on with the kid. I honestly don't understand. So we got basically to decide who's the highest rated, who's going to be winning the FIDE Grand Swiss Tournament 2023. I might click on that in a second. The winner of the 2023 FIDE Circuit. So that's a bunch of tournaments, and then the highest rated person in that. Actually, I'll go back to the game. Yep, Pragg, you're going to take a think after Rook B8. That's right. So, first of all, this thing is it's sooner rather than later. It's coming up in April, this candidates tournament. Going to be in Toronto. Maybe they should have a cool side tournament that me and Kostya could go play, and then we could be there, dude, to watch that tournament. That'd be fun. Okay, so then we got this FIDE Grand Swiss, and this Grand Swiss thing is going to be 100 qualifiers by rating, the top 100 players in the FIDE rating list. So, we're going to have all the usual suspects in there, plus a lot of people that, like a Bossov, you've never really heard of. Okay. That's mildly interesting, and that's going to be November in the Isle of Man. Okay, so we're going to have that one. And then we're going to also have this FIDE circuit thing. The FIDE circuit played a bigger role than, it used to be a couple people. Now it's only one person. And it's a very complicated formula. Oh my God, yeah, very complicated formula. No one knows who's going to win that thing, dude. And it's just a list. So there's all these different tournaments that you can play in, loads of them. And winning it gives you some points. But right now, I'm not seeing like who is leading that event. We're just going to wait on that, dude. So the top chess tournaments in 2023. Obviously, a lot more tournaments are still to be had. So that'll be one spot. Okay. Okay, dude. Dude, and maybe Ding won't play. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on him to play. It's not quite like Magnus, but the kid, he's not really playing much these days, dude. And only played a little bit, to do the whole Jan thing. It's like the people at the very top don't want to play. I'll tell you what, this kid Pragg wants to play. Okay, Kraai, can you go back and focus on what's important here? I don't think Hikaru has a chance, buddy. But it's going to be interesting that he'll be there. It'll definitely add some drama. It'll add some drama. Show me the speed says, can you explain me bishop h3 leads to complete, then why Magnus didn't play that? I assume you're saying complete equality or something, and that maybe that's what the computers are saying. I didn't understand bishop h3. So here we go. Can someone give me a confirmation on that bishop h3 was the computer move? What's up with rapport? Yeah. Graphic Grab says no, not the computer. Well, here's the thing. I think what the comment from Show Me the Speed suggested was that bishop h3 was the move in this position. And one of the things about the computer that's interesting is it might, once, let's say you're watching some stream and they say, oh, bishop h3 is the move, well, bows. Well, bows. You're going to have to answer to this position. You're going to have to answer to this position. And maybe the computer has a way. We looked at this. Maybe the computer has a way here, but if I'm looking at this as human, I'm like, no, you're insane. You're insane, bows. This is called a bishop, this is called the queening square, and that's called a pawn. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm seeing. So, anyways, that was that. I thought rook b8 was cool. And now one of the cool things about rook b8 was that here was our beautiful trap by Magnus. Beautiful trap. And I wouldn't call it a trap, but it makes rook b8 playable. And bishop d6 is a mild concession because now we don't have to play queen e7. Now the queen is behind the pawn so that we are ready to play d5 to blunt this bishop. And I still think white's probably a little bit better, but we have really radically improved our position. And we are threatening bishop d7 so that we don't have to worry about b6 too. That was another concern we had in a lot of positions. So I think we're anticipating probably this move. So regardless of what like that computer says, I like rook b8 a lot, dude. Showed a lot of inventiveness, set some problems. And Black's position, to my eyes, is just like we're relieved a lot of the pressure that we were feeling just a half a second ago. I don't know if Rapport has it, dude. You know, Rapport's like 10th in the world. Let's go look. I think he's like 10th or 11th. And the difference between 2750 and like the high 2700s, that's pretty real. That's pretty real, dude. And so you'd have to win that tournament to get that spot. And it's hard, dude. It's hard. You can see all these other names in here. They want to play, dude. They want to play Duda, MVL, Grishuk, Shaq, Aronian, Dominguez. All these people want a shot at the title, dude. But they're not good enough, dude. It ain't happening. MVL's really fallen off. Check that out. And also of note is, dude, Dominguez, age 39, continues to maintain this position around the 14th in the world. Stunning. Stunning, dude. The dude was it's immaculate for an older dude to be holding on that long. You know? Yep. Aronian's still dreaming too, but it's past. Time is past. Wesley's taking a beating as well, man. And Anand just don't play no more, and they just seeing all these other people fall below him. I think he's going to go inactive soon. He just needs to play a game now and then, though. Just a game now and then to keep up his rating. Yep. Yeah, Alejandro Ramirez isn't on this list anymore, huh? Yep. Okay, go back, buddy. Go back. Here we have our position. I like black fine. I'm gonna guess though that, well, rook a b1 is. Let's put rook a b1 on the board for a second. The issue with this move would be bishop d7. However, bishop d7, queen a3. AB, knight takes. D5. Good move. And yeah, you can see here that Magnus is B fundamentally just fine. Wait, but your AB was a turd move, buddy, because your pawn's hanging. You can't do that. So if it went down this way, you'd have to do it a little different. And here we can make a claim that maybe white's better. It's still not super simple because we have cut off the bishop. Right? Okay. So like I said, I think white is probably still a little bit better. I think it looks like rook AB1 was played. Let me just refresh to make sure that's the case. I called it, my friends. Rook AB1 was played. And then we got to move with AB. So one of the cool things for white is that both sides decided that the bishop d7 move wasn't the one. And that would be the one to maybe fear a little bit. However, like I said, it's just a very simple process here. You cannot play rook takes because of this. Queen takes, maybe. It's a little awkward. And on knight takes, we're getting d5, and I think black is just fine. So let's look at queen takes for a second. Here we have several ideas. They all look fine, too. We can play bishop e6, intending d5. We can play bishop d7 and bishop c6. All right, we're getting this on the board. So I think Magnus has solved a lot of his problems, too, for sure. Yeah, once we get bishop e6 in, man, it's looking like we've solved a lot of our grief. I think you can still make a claim that white is better, though, even though Magnus has mostly untangled. Bishop d7, I thought bishop e6 was also good. And I guess the intention of bishop d7 is to play bishop c6 next. Bishop d7 surprises me a little bit, because now queen b6. And maybe Magnus still plays bishop c6. The point being is if you go taco, schmacko, krako, I have rook c8. And that's pretty clever, isn't it? That's pretty clever. Because normally you would say, well, I want the weakness on c6, but the problem is this doesn't look like much for white. You could play on here. You'd say, I got a little bit of something, something, but you don't got a lot of nothing. You got a whole lot of nothing is what you got, son. This part's true. The passed a pawn, it's a thing. Okay, it's a thing. Let me try to understand something for myself. Why not bishop e6 intending d5? What was wrong with that, dude? I like that a lot more. I guess one basic question is, I don't think it's true, though. Could white have taken? I don't think so. Well, maybe, dude. Maybe. Maybe you could just take it. And if, like, bishop c8, then you get out of dodge with queen a6. If queen c7, okay, queen c7 scares me. Rook f. Bishop. Knight. A little complicated, but it looks okay. So maybe that was the deal. There was actually that bishop b7 maybe was playable, dude. Wow. Yeah, looks like maybe it was. Okay, that's fascinating. So then we have bishop d7 and bishop c6 next. And we have not seen many endgames where Magnus is a little worse. But maybe it just doesn't seem like he's worse because he makes it look so effortless. But Magnus will be a little worse here. Maybe, okay, so the big options for white, we got queen c4 as a thought. But queen c4 is controversial because I can play queen a5 intending rook over, tagging this guy. And queen b4, maybe. You could do it that way too. And there maybe, well, let me just say the bummer for white is like, when this goes down, now the knight doesn't have any squares, right? So like, yeah, I think, it's nothing. This ain't nothing for you, son. Bishop d7. Dude, Magnus is finding some moves, and can we just say something obvious? We're going to time pressure. Unless we're either going to like a liquidation and a draw, or to time pressure. Hikaru is not peaking at 35. Nobody is peaking at 35. Does it feel like chess players are now holding their peak for longer than they used to? The opposite. The opposite. Back in the day, you would have some people who were ancient, but now the number of people over 40 in the top list, it ain't very large, dude. What move number are we on? Good question. We're at move 17, and I correctly guessed queen b6, and now we're going to see if my gut with bishop c6 is correct. I don't know what other idea. This was kind of clever, but bishop c6 looks like the move. It's a really annoying defensive move, because honestly, you look at this position optically, it looks like black is really in trouble. But after bishop c6, you're like, well, wait, how do I persecute this dude? This dude. Yeah, that's hard, dude. It's hard. Bishop c6 is highly annoying. Bishop c6. There's one for the Kraai team, huh? There's one for the Kraai team. Nice. One fun question is, how many people are over 40 on the list? Now, we did just get Aronian turning 40. We, of course, have Anand. I don't know if Anand is truly on the list, because dude is not really playing, and soon he's going to be inactive. We have Topalov, who is mostly inactive. So these guys who play one game a year, I don't know if it counts. But there it is. We got those guys. We used to have Svidler. Svidler's fallen off. And then we got Vallejo Ponce. He's been bringing it. So we do have a couple people. Vallejo Ponce, I would say, is the only one. Vallejo and Aronian are the only ones who are active and are over 40. Right? Dominguez might be there soon, dude. I don't know when he turns 40, but, hey, he's 39 now. Can't be too long. Yep. But back in the day, let's say Botvinnik was over. He was ancient, still playing. At the top. Tal was ancient, still playing at the top. Korchnoi, of course, was ancient, still playing at the top. Petrosian, Smyslov, all those dudes, they were playing at the top. So back in the day, you just had more people who were 40 plus. And I think it just speaks to chess becoming more competitive, right? Like we've seen other sports, at 28, you start declining. Some of us decline faster than others. I'll tell you, I've seen it at the senior tournament, dude. You see some dudes with some physical ailments. Everybody over 50's got physical ailments, but some people, clearly it's not looking so good, dude. That's why Krai's got a shot at the senior. It's not chess talent, I'll tell you that. Those guys at the U.S. senior close, dude, way more experience and talent than me. Guys like Christensen, Benjamin, Akopian, right? All these old timers. fantastic players of the past, Kaidanov, right? And but their bodies, dude, their bodies ain't doing so good. Some better than others. Yeah, that's my only shot, dude. That's fair, Chisel. He's still strength. He's still strong. But you hear me, right? When you're not playing, you're not playing. And I think you do go inactive after a little bit. Yeah, Larry's amazing, dude. And then there's a bunch of strong players that aren't going to be at that tournament, like Fed. Fed, dude. Also, it's interesting. Fed's lost the desire to play for a win, and he's drawing all these chumps nowadays, right? So that's an interesting thing as well. I just had an idea for white. It's a little weird, and I don't believe it either. But I was thinking maybe you park it. I don't like. Is that at the worst case scenario? I play d5 and ask you what? What do you want? Okay, queen takes d8. Okay, maybe then with the intention of rook. I don't know what your intention is here, Bowers. What is your intention? All right, it looks like Magnus has solved his problems. Let's see if he comes up with something here. The other nice thing about rook fd8 is now really black is in a position to play actively with the king. And the hilarious thing, dude, is, back in the day with two GMs, black equalizes, and then they'd be like, okay, well, let's shake hands. We got a draw. Welcome to the world of Magnus, son. No draw. No draw for you, buddy bud. So maybe it could go, oh, it happened to top. All right, so we had looked at positions similar to this a while back, and white has one trump in the outside A pawn. You could argue that the C pawn's also not the happiest dude. However, the knight on C3 doesn't have any clear spots to go to, and black is playing king f8 e7 sooner rather than later, which will just give him more force on the in the critical fighting squares. Now maybe you get real frisky with a4. Let's just see what happens. Let's say I play king f8, and you get even more frisky. Let's say king e7, you get more frisky. And we got a Mexican standoff, so if I leave this square, you're going to play rook over. Okay, let's say I go over then, and you give me a check, and I go here. Right, I don't think you have the juice to promote the pawn because you just don't have enough dudes. But here's a hilarious variation. Oh, it was almost a hilarious variation. But unfortunately, so this is the trick. No coming back, but then there's this bad boy. Okay. So if I was black, that would be, let's say, the variation I would be a little concerned with. Though it's just, no puedo believe. Well, hold on, buddy. Before you start talking to me about your puedos, you got to say that rook b6 here is a good-looking move. Isn't that an advantage, buddy? And now if king d7 like a chump, you throw in rook b7. Okay, so maybe a4 for white. So the philosophy of this move is, if black moves the b rook to fight my pawn, then I enter to either b6 or b7. No, it's a good philosophy. And furthermore, white could say, yes, my knight on c3 is a chump. It's true. But he does guard that pawn for half a second. So maybe this is the way to go. King f8, and then if a5, then we pop him and rob him. Right? There you go, buddy. Because if rook a1, I can go both rook a6, just rook a6, and I cruise over. This knight ain't working. Okay. So that's good news for black, is that a4 is not, a4, a5 is not an immediate threat. So otherwise, what white would want to do, I think, is tickle this pawn in some way to make it move so that my knight gets some squares, but I don't see how to do that. Would trading both rooks favor white or black? Good question. Maybe we could do it that way. Let's try it, actually. So a great rule of thumb is that in the knight endgame, if you lifted the knights off, and you want to know who's better in the knight endgame, if you lift the knights off, then the person who is better is the person who would be winning the king and pawn endgame. And would white be winning this king and pawn endgame? Probably. Probably. It's not 100% sure to me, because I can imagine black getting here quicker than white's going to get there if we take on b1. King g2 was played. This was actually very, very, very interesting to me, though, this thing that we were just looking at. I was thinking maybe rook a1, though. And if rook b6, black could play knight d5. If rook c6, we trade everything off. If pop, pop, I think you'd have to play rook b2, and you're not going to win that against Magnus. And on rook d6, I talk here, and you ain't going to win this against Magnus. So that might have been a variation that they were looking at. Okay, we got king g2. Magnus quickly plays rook a8. Point is very simple. If rook b6, we're looking for knight d5. With full liquidation, baby. Yep. I think Pragg needs to start thinking about bringing this one home. Just make a draw, buddy. So I think rook b6 could kind of force a draw, really, because you would get this thing. You know, Androwski's from Moski's. Magnus would play on. He doesn't care. But I think that's what white needs to start thinking about. Because, dude, Magnus, it's hard to beat this guy. It's hard to beat this dude, man. Whew. Man, oh man, he solved his problems. Rook b8. Rook b8 with a tactical flourish, and then bishop d7, c6 also with some tactical flourish. And now I don't think he's got any problems. White would have to do something very special. Maybe, I don't know, rook fc1, we got a lot of different moves though. Rook a6 comes to mind immediately. Rook a3, maybe also playable. Rook c1 would be like the most fighting move, I guess, because then if the knight d5 thing ever goes down, black at least has to worry about that kind of thing. Right? It's hard to imagine here what's happening. Yeah. So, by the way, with the question of the trading both rooks, this one, it is a little frightening for black. I don't know. This one would be hard to... this one, honestly, I don't think a human mind could immediately penetrate the secrets of this thing. And that's why it's really good to ask the question, would it be a draw if the knights were lifted? And it might be, but it's scary. It's scary. All right, let's see. Rook b6 was played, and now that's, like I said, he's just cruising to a draw with knight d5. Drawskis for Moskies. You know? Yeah, that's nothing. That is nothing. Well, maybe the stream will end. Magnus draws with black. Not easily. Not easily, but one thing we could say about this game is, the kid got a great opening position, and it was, even though it's going to be a draw here, Magnus is the one who showed the skill, right? Magnus is definitely the one who showed the skill here. Mm-hmm. Somebody saying maybe this is better for white. I don't think so, dude. Oh, what are we doing? You want to play rook b2? I can play here. I'm coming in, Mouse. It's murder central on the A file. Yeah, so Magnus is just going to think. Magnus is thinking, can I play for a win somehow? That's how cold he is. No, you're going to play knight d5, bud. They are not allowed to make a draw until move 30, by the way. I think. At least that's the standard thing. Now, I got to say, in terms of the psychological journey of Magnus needed to be punched in the face by this kid, and he's not going to be impressed, dude. Because the kid got a great position out of the opening, and that's not impressive to get a good position out of the opening. That ain't it. But to outplay Magnus out of the opening, after you got the nice position, that's what Magnus needs for his soul, to get crushed, That's the only way I can imagine Magnus coming to his senses. Does he have huge respect for Pragg, dude? We'll see. We'll see. I think all those Indian players are in a lot of ways still unknowns, right? Like you got, let's say there's 4 of them at the tournament that did real well, but 3 of them are so young that we don't really know. Like when you're 17 or 18, it's clear you're a great player, but it's not clear, what we're gonna, which of those 3 is gonna be the best, right? I don't know. Maybe they'll all be good, but in general, no. It's gonna shake out a little bit, And Pragg beating Aragaisi, well, dude, that was a total matter of chance. Also, Pragg beating Fabi, that was also blitz games, dude. I think the only one for sure we know Magnus has got a little fear of is Ali Reza, and I don't understand what's going on with Ali Reza, dude. No entiendo that. All right, let's go look at what Fabi's doing real quick. All right, let's just go flying through this game here. Some people complain about theory. This is definitely theory. Though A4 is kind of, it turns it into more of a positional game. This has all been seen before. A little spicy, but I've seen this too. Whoa, rook G1. Flavor Flav. E4, ambitious. Because now this pawn is potentially weak. I like the way Bossov's playing this. Fascinating stuff, my friends. So this is the position. And apparently, there's some problem with queen takes d4. I think it's called knight f6. So now if pawn takes, we can just play takes. And it'll be, and the real bummer here is it's not just an exchange. It will be mate. It will be mate, my friends. Okay. So did Fabi blow it with this 94 thing? Knight is a hell of a move, man. Of course, we can play knight d5. But then queen d3, king h8, and still some real questions abounding, say, with knight g5. Uh-oh. I don't know, buddy. I don't know, Magnus. I mean, Fabi Fobs. This one, this match doesn't matter too much. They both qualified to. You know, maybe it matters a little bit. I'm sure it matters for pride and stuff. And the other one, you could argue, also doesn't matter. But hey, this Magnus needs to get punched in the face. And it is like, you know, yeah. Can anyone explain to me what happened to Ali Reza? Like, he didn't play this tournament, right? What's going on? Where's the kid playing? I haven't seen him play forever. He can turn into a streamer? Of course it matters for rating, yeah. He's a fashion designer now. Oh, Fabi's sweating it. The camera's on him over here. He's sweating it pretty good after 94. Now, Fabi, you know, one of the things that's bizarre, I mean, the top players are truly bizarre when you think about it, right? Because you got so many people at the top that either don't care or pretend they don't care, right? Hikaru, now this guy's streaming. Magnus pretends he don't care. Fabi is like podcasting all the time now. What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? Fabi in particular, I feel I don't like this. I don't like Hikaru doing the streaming. I don't like Fabi doing his podcasting. It is time for Fabi to take chess seriously, bud. You know, come on, bro. I get it. Life has been hard. It hasn't been easy. But, you know, what are you talking about? There's a Bossov kid there. He's working 24/7. You go back to this list, those Indian kids, they're coming for you, buddy. You think they're like, oh, World Championship's dumb? No. They're coming to spank you in the face, hun. What are you talking about? Oh, Magnus. Killing me, Bows. Okay, let's go back to Magnus. I have a feeling this is going to be a draw. Excuse me, wrong game, buddy. Pop. Rook dc8. So Magnus is just like, I know knight d5 was an instant draw, but you know what, bud? I'll just play rook dc8. I'm not going to give you nothing. Now, let's go to the analysis here for a second. So first question, Kraai, did you miss something? Let's just make sure I didn't miss. Well, what could I have possibly missed? Knight d5, you're getting rid of the knight. And you're going to hammer blow that pawn until it's dead. There's nothing to see here, bud. What are we talking about, man? Okay, so rook dc8 surprises me. Because at the minimum, white gets to play on with that move, doesn't he? Yeah, I don't understand, dude. What about rook a1 after the knight fades? Okay, we can look. Then this would be this one for sure. Bam. See that pawn? That pawn ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. And we are going to play for king f8 and such. Yes. This ain't it. Okay, let's give it a move. Say king f3. We're just going to pretend e4 is a chump move. It probably is. King f8. Now, what are we talking about? I'm playing king e7 next, dude. If rook b7, then I'll cruise on over for... Well, okay, wait a second. Say rook b7. Okay, maybe. So imagine here, pop, 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 pop. Maybe white has a little something, something. So that's real hard for me. That's real hard for me to accept. Okay, rook c1, that's what I would do if I was white. Yeah, I called that one. I did not call rook dc8. Knight d5 was like, I don't know, that felt like easy equality. Oh, I think Fabi resigned, dude. Oh, he resigned, dude. Oh. This kid a boss off, dude. Dang. Dang, son. Do we want to do a puzzle from Jasper? In under 3 minutes, I'll donate you $5. Well, that's going to set the internet on fire. All right, something happened. D5. Okay, so this is Magnus's intention. And, okay, this is ambitious. Magnus is like, maybe Magnus is just saying, buddy, I don't care about you. I don't care about you and the things you say. And I'm just going to play d4. I'm going to take your pawn. Okay, so the obvious question would be, well, I don't want you to take my pawn, so I'll play rook c2. And then Magnus can play d4 anyway, and the knight has no good squares. Oh, this is interesting. Magnus is amazing, dude. Dude, let me just tell you, every GM would play knight d5 there. He's like, no, I want more. Now, let's say knight goes here. At least here it has this intention. I go pop. Pop, 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 pop. And then I ask, who is better and why? It's probably still equal. But that knight no, that knight's a chump. Chump. Yeah, that knight's a chump, dude. Dude, Magnus is evil, man. Rook c2 was played. Now, d4 is not forced, okay? Because white's not actually doing anything right here. But d4 certainly looks interesting. And if you say you do this one, well, who's better and why, right? You know. It's still white can easily hold, I think, with rook b5. Though even here, maybe it's going to get spicy with a move like c4. I don't know. But our default could be just f6 And then if you snip snap, I take here and we shake hands and go home. So, yeah. Dude, Magnus, he's like, I had an easy draw. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna teach you some respect, son. I'm gonna teach you some respect around here. Dang. All right, so here we go. Well, Jasper, all right, send us the puzzle, Baus. You gonna send it as a fen or something? If you send it as a fen, that'd be the easiest, because then I could just create a little thing, and we can go for it. And it'll let you send it as a fen. With the links, the Twitch gets so upset. Dude, if Magnus won this position, oh, dude, you're gonna imagine you're playing Magnus and you start feeling the heat now, man. You're like, oh, I thought I was just, when I did this Rook B6 thing, I was just like gonna get the draw. No, Magnus is making me work for it. Dang. Now, I want to stress, I do feel it's still wholly drawn after, say, d4, knight b1. And even d4, knight e4, white should be able to hold that easily. But just the fact that Magnus is making him play, making him work. Oh, that's pretty good, dude. Whoo. I don't know. I want to say about the clock pressure that there's going to be several moves here which will be, I might end up taking this statement back. But some moves will come quickly now. Like keeping it within the realm of the drawable should be relatively easy. Where I might take that statement back is, dude, if Magnus sets you a deep problem in the end game, and you start imperceptibly drifting, like we've seen so many of Magnus's opponents do, oh, welcome to the dojo. That's right, buddy. Yeah. Any fen will work, whether it's Lee chess or chess common. Fen is a fen is a fen. Oh. And you don't have to give me $5, dude. You can. I'll tell you what, though. Let me just say something about this stream here for a second. If you're watching this stream and you're feeling like, I should be giving these money per Twitch, but I don't like Twitch, I understand. And it would be cool for me. Knight D7. Hey, he don't care, dude. He don't care. Dude, holy pachilis. I got to digest this for a second. That wasn't on my bingo card. And it's maybe a pretty good move, dude. So the rook will have to leave. I think. Whew, that's a spicy move, though. He's playing for a win. Here's an amazing variation. Rook b7, knight c5, rook e7, f6, and the thought is that I'm going to play king f8 next move, and your rook is gone. Goodbye. Oh, dude, Magnus. Dang, buddy. Dang. Now, what would make me nervous about this is rook b7, knight c5, and let's say rook. That's not. I mean, it's hard to call that nervous. I still can play that d4 move there. Dang. White to move, mate in 2, Mr. Chess Dojo. Well, okay, there's the fen. All right, let's see. He says 3 minutes. By the way, before I clip this, I want to say about just supporting the dojo. The dream of the dojo and of myself, okay, is the Chess Dojo training program. It's a beautiful thing. It's low cost, right? It is better than a coach, all right? It is better than a coach. Myself and the dojo are trying to make this thing grow. Now, you might say to yourself, oh, I don't have no time for that, but I do want to support the dojo. Become a member of the training program, Dao. That's the way to support the dojo in a way that's really constructive, and you might find yourself into it, man. It's going, man. Even if you're like, I'm not taking my chess too seriously, it's a beautiful thing. All right, now let's grab this fen. So if Jasper, how about instead of $5, buddy, if I get this thing right, you do training program. Here we go. I've done a lot of maiden twos. I enjoy them. So we're gonna go learn. I'm gonna go classroom. We're gonna go new room. We're gonna go load from fen. Pop. And I think it's gonna be white to move. Holy patchouli. Okay, whose move is it? I think it's white to move. Right? Oh my God, and white? Okay, it is an orientation thing. It is an orientation thing. All right, how about this? Queen G6, king takes, knight F8. Is that mate? No, is it mate? I don't know. Looks like mate. It's not saying mate though, so did I blow it? It's looking like mate, but I don't know. It's not mate. Why is it not? Oh, because the pawns are going the wrong direction. See, this is where pawns are going down. Okay, time out. So I take it back. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, the boomer has trouble seeing that the pawns are going this way. I would be correct if the pawns were going the other way. Okay, thank you. I get a take back. It's almost like I want to flip it. Okay, remember though, Kraai, the pawns are going the other way. Could be a difficult one, my friends. Okay. It's pretty difficult, Mr. Fickult. Okay. Well, truly not so easy for Mr. Lemon Squeezy. Well, maybe it's obvious and I'm missing it. Maybe it's obvious and I'm missing it. Wouldn't be the first time. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. It's maybe not so hard. What do we sing? I go, it's what's hard about this problem for me is I have trouble seeing that the pawns are going this way. But all right, here's my answer, Bows. Mr. Bowself. Wait, be careful, buddy. Be careful with you and your answers. No, that isn't the answer. Well, I think I missed my 3 minutes. It's got to be past 3 minutes. So I definitely blew that part of the challenge. I didn't get that part right. I usually am. I usually am good at this, man. Why is it not? Why is this so hard for me? It's the pawns, dude. Anytime we get the pawns going the wrong way, it freaks me out. Oh. Difficult. All right, I'm gonna go back to Magnus. Wait, how do I? No, I can't go back without ruining this beautiful thing. Hold on. Go watch Fide Cup. I go games. Dude, the boss I've lost. Unbelievable. So this is our current posizione. I'm gonna go back to the puzzle. I just want to recap what happened here. Yeah, so this amazing knight d7 move happened. Knight c5. Chump gets nervous when he sees knight c5. It's like that piece is loose. Man. Dude, Magnus is the one saying he's better. We trade off and we get the a2 pawn. Dude, this is chess, man. Now dude has to worry about knight d4. Okay. So it does look, I mean, it's been a draw for a while, but it seems like we're going to get maybe some kind of 95. Then we're going to get a takes on a2 equals. Is that true, Kraai? Maybe he's got knight d4. If you probably have to take, because if you don't take, the knight d4 thing is going to be annoying. Yeah, totally fine. All right, back to this silly problem that somebody gave me. Here, Jasper gave me. All right. Here's our little question. Again, it's murdering me that the pawns are going the wrong way. Oh, you know what? Here's the thing. I'll tell you a thing. I'll tell you a thing right now, and I have a feeling I'm about to find the answer. Despite the fact that I have the arrows pointing, I was always seeing this pawn going down. Like one of my variations I was trying to work was queen b2, pawn takes, rook c5 mate. That was one of my key variations. Okay? So, all right, my friends, maybe you had the same problem. This happens to me a lot of times when we get these irrational positions. Yeah, the bishops, it just kills me. Okay, so maybe I have the answer now. I think I do. And this is the position, the one I wanted to do forever. And the pawn going the wrong way is killing me the whole time. I saw this move immediately. Yeah, I think I have the answer. The answer is queen c6. And if it hadn't been for the pawn going the wrong way, I think I would have got this bad boy sooner. So for example, my head was seeing queen takes, rook d5, c2. But there's no c2, boss. There's no c2. Now, I would have found it in 3 minutes, but the pawn was killing me. The other issue with queen c6 is pop, and then we're protecting the knight. And maybe we should do another variation here, here, here. And our bishop is protected. The second I realized that the pawn thing killed me, man. It was funny. I was like, normally I get these things faster, but I was dying, and it was the pawn thing. This is, maybe other people have this, maybe they don't, but I know that when I get these positions and the pawn's looking weird, so the pawns were going both directions in my head. Okay, cool. Nice problem. Let's go back. The thing about, I would say, I've done so many of them that queen c6 was on my mind within seconds because it guards this knight in a weird way and we're deflecting from the bishop. But I was just destroyed by the mini c2s of the world. I'm telling you, Victorious, it would have been a lot faster, buddy. It would have been a lot faster. Okay, so this looks like if anyone's better, it's black, but it's equal. Dude, Magnus will just keep playing on. All right, my friends, I'm going to call it there. That was a fun stream. And let's look at actually the scoreboard for a second. Before we're out of here, we are going to be doing the graduate show later today, and let's just get a taste of who's on. Me and Kostya is going to do it with me again. So, yeah. So this is the list from lowest to highest of our graduates later in today. That'll probably be 1:30 today, Eastern time. Harold made it. That's cool. A lot of work there Harold did, dude, to make it. Really nice, dude. Tika Poj. Tika Poj has graduated before. Andrew ML. Dude, Andrew's been flying. Just flying. Okay. But now, when you have 0 dojo points, usually maybe somebody's just adjusting themselves. Cool Master. And so we'll read these comments on air too. And we got a total of 16. Wolves made it. Nice. Ricardo Alves. A lot of cool people. Krabby Crab, look at that, boss. Krabby Crab made it. All right. Okay. That's pretty funny, man. So we'll read that too. I told Krabby Crab asked me what I think he should do. He's trying to get for this to win the Maryland Denker Championship. And I haven't. It would be interesting. I don't know who is there now. You know, there's usually some kids who are experts or such, but I don't know what the current state of it is. But anyways, it's a great dream. That's going to be next year, the Sweet 16. I think it's like the 16 top players. First, he's got to qualify to get in it. And definitely Crab's doing some work. So anyways, I told him, I looked at a couple of his games, and I said that his positional understanding was weak. He did not get upset at me for saying that, so that's nice. And then Jack is graduating again, dude. Jack is a hero of the dojo. I think we could get a nice training match between Jack and Krabby Crab. They're both going for it. That would be a good for both of those guys to get a nice long game. And then we could watch it and eat popcorn at the same time. Okay. So, my friends, we're going to get out of here.